Hey everybody, happy Earth Day! My name is Roman Jefferson and I'm a certified arborist, and it's my privilege to be able to celebrate Earth Day with you guys. So being an arborist, I take care of trees. It's part of my job to climb trees, prune trees, diagnose tree diseases, and monitor trees in the city of Cortez. So I would like to share with you some pictures of some trees. In these trees, you'll find really cute little animals like this black bear and some other wildlife that I wanted to talk about because one of the things that trees do for us is they provide us with good wildlife habitat. Think if we didn't have trees, we wouldn't have food for wildlife, we wouldn't have shelter and other things. So maybe you and I can just go through some of these pictures and talk about them. All right, here we go. Here's another animal that takes refuge in trees, and this is I think this is a jaguar, and they like to be up in the trees because up in trees they're off the ground, and often they're safer up in the trees, and they have a good vantage point to look out on possible other predators. Let's see what else. And then we have the monkeys, and they like to swing around in trees for many reasons. Again, they seek shelter in the trees, and they can find food in the trees. So cute. So when you think about trees and wildlife, you may not think of something like this as being a good habitat tree or a wildlife tree. But some of these old trees and dead trees are the best for wildlife because they house a lot of insects, they have a lot of decay pockets. And so here I wanted to show you a good example of a really good habitat tree. And if we look at this picture, we can see that owls like to live in these old trees, and it's great habitat for them. Here's another tree that's a good, what we call habitat tree. And what I mean by habitat is it is providing a food source or a shelter or a perching spot for trees, or for wildlife. And so this is an old tree that's been hollowed out over time by, first it probably started with a woodpecker, and then it was a little bit of decay got in there, and then something else, insects probably hollowed those out more. And now this is a great habitat tree. Little birds and such can live in there, and so can raccoons. So cute. Hello again. Here's another picture. This is a mountain lion, and we have these around here. And I've personally seen several times mountain lions in trees. They like to go up there because they're safer up there, and they can rest and not be worried about other mountain lions or human disturbance. So that's pretty cool. And here's another sleeping animal, black bear. He's up in the tree just taking a nap. Once again, these old trees are great for wildlife because they can house a lot of decaying fungi, and because of the fungi, you have little insects that eat away at the fungi and the decaying wood, and then what eats the insects is birds like woodpeckers. Here's a good example of woodpeckers on the tree, and if you see this, that probably means that there's little bugs in there. Here's a picture of one. That's a bark beetle, and these are little woodpeckers that will hit the bark and try to get out the beetles. So woodpeckers are good. Other things that eat trees, they eat the leaves. So we call them defoliators, but here's a good caterpillar picture. And this guy's eating some leaves. And because we have insects eating leaves, we have birds eating insects. So trees are great because they provide food for both the little insects and the things that eat the insects. Here's another picture of a defoliator eating some leaves. Some ants taking leaves away to build their nests. And that's a good thing because, as you can see, the ants and the defoliators help decompose organic matter, and then they fuel the forest floor again, providing nutrients for more trees. So that's a big deal. And then we have pretty extreme things. They call it a sausage tree because if you can see in the tree, there are these giant fruits that look like sausages. And this elephant is eating some of the leaves. Other things that eat leaves, of course, are birds. And what would we do without birds? They're so beautiful and they sound beautiful. And if you ever walk into a forest and you close your eyes, what do you hear? You hear birds. And so trees are essential for birds. They live in the trees. They eat on the trees. And so in the bottom right we have, this is juniper, and we have the little juniper berries that looks like a robin. And in the upper left, that's either a crab apple or a hawthorn, and more wildlife. And then there's squirrels. Squirrels and trees go hand in hand. And here's a very happy little squirrel. Beavers. Beavers eat trees, and they also use the stems and trunks to make nests. So if we didn't have trees, we wouldn't have beavers, and if we didn't have beavers, our entire ecosystem would be different. And then here's a very happy deer munching on some choke cherries. And a bear that looks like mountain ash, and he is happy bear, nomming on some little berries. And this brings up a good point that if we didn't have wildlife eating these berries, we wouldn't have enough fuel for the next generation. So here you can see in this bear scat are a bunch of berries. And what happens then is that's good fertilizer essentially for one of those berries to germinate and become a new tree. And a lot of fruit from trees actually have to go through the gastrointestinal tract of one of the wildlife members to germinate. So they are really meant for each other. Trees and wildlife have to be together. And what happens is you get germination. So here's a picture of a new ponderosa pine in forest. And this looks like a juniper growing next to a lake. And once again, another seedling. So wildlife is essential to complete the cycle of trees. And finally, I just wanted to finish with a couple of cute pictures. There's a bear swinging around, and some baby birds. Those kind of look like ducks, but he's going on his first flight. Hope he's going to make it. And then there's the goats. So that's not really wildlife. That's just a joke. So I hope you enjoyed this. Have a great Earth Day. And if you can't hug a human right now, you can hug a tree. Take care. Bye.